Hey guys, I had to jump on here and react to Ben Simmons, and I'm going to be honest. I was wondering, should I put 7 foot tall baby in the thumbnail? That seems a little harsh, even for me. And then I listened to what Joel Embiid said, and Joel Embiid said it basically. So I'm not even the one calling him a baby, technically. I have no idea if I put this thing on public. Ah, yes, I did. Cool. People are coming in. So look, I'm not being too harsh calling Ben Simmons a 7 foot tall baby because that's what Joel Embiid just said in his press conference. So obviously, Ben Simmons didn't speak to the media, but because he was suspended, kicked out of practice. He was kicked out of practice today because Doc Rivers asked him to do a defensive drill, and he basically said no. So Doc Rivers asked him again, jump in this defensive drill. And Ben Simmons said, no. So he said, just go home. You just go home. So we've got some good news coming out. Number one is that they have suspended him. He will not get paid for any of the preseason games that he missed. Basically, he came back on October 11th to get paid, obviously, but Ben hasn't been paid a dollar. So he is acting like this. And by the way, he's not getting paid still. So that's good news because I don't want to see this guy get paid for being a jerk. Um, the differences between what Ben is doing and what James Harden did last year. James Harden also was an idiot. But James Harden was getting paid, but Harden was participating in practices and Harden was actually participating in games. Right now, it looks like Ben Simmons isn't wanting to do either. Yesterday, the video that came out was Ben completely mailing it in practice. There were huddles where they were saying 1, 2, 3 Sixers, and he wasn't going to be in the huddle. He was standing in the background and he just went away as soon as he could. There was a video, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ben was in a drill with his teammates, but he had sweatpants on with a phone in his pocket. And he was like just kind of going through the motions. Like, how much more of a jerk can you be? Like, Ben Simmons, he's an embarrassment in every single way. His attitude is crappy. His play is horrible. We all know. We've been ripping on his play for a long time. The way that he's handling this when he comes back, like, he's such an embarrassment, the way that he's treating his teammates. By the way, sure, Joel Embiid and Doc Rivers may have said some stuff that was regrettable right after that Game 7 against the Hawks. But, like, get over it. Be at least a little bit of a professional, please. He is literally acting like a giant child. Like, he got his feelings hurt, and now he's just, like, pouting in the corner for, like, months and months and months. It's like, dude, be an adult, grow up, have a man-to-man conversation with Embiid, with Doc Rivers, and get over this stuff. And if you still want to be traded, that's cool. But at least show up and own your half of the crap. Look, they've got stuff that they should own too. Because, yeah, there's two sides to this Ben Simmons Sixers thing. There are two sides. But at this point, Ben Simmons' side is like this big, and the Sixers side is like this big. It's like, and Ben Simmons' side is growing. All the crap that he needs to apologize for is growing and growing and growing. So, at this point, it's like, okay, people are predicting the trade is going to come down at any moment. Here comes the trade because things are getting worse, right? But I don't think the trade is coming. I think that the Sixers knew what they were getting into. When they invited Ben Simmons to come back to camp, to come back to the team, they were inviting drama. So I hope that they're not surprised by all this. Of course, there was going to be drama when Ben came back. He was going to drag his diva attitude into camp. Now, is this more of a distraction? Yes. Am I starting to doubt my bullish prediction on, like, I was high on the Sixers, right? I'm kind of starting to feel bad about that right now because this is a big distraction. This is huge. This is bad. So, yeah, man, it's bad. But do I think that they're going to trade him for peanuts? No. They're going to trade him for a star, and that's it. And so if he continues to be a total jerk with them, they're just going to continue to suspend him. And, I think at some point, the media will stop asking about Ben because there will be no update on Ben. So, yeah, it's going to be a distraction at first for a while. But I think eventually the media will stop asking about Ben, even if they don't trade him, because it'll be like, if they ask about him, there will just be the same answer that they got yesterday and the day before and the day before. So at some point, it'll make no sense to ask about Ben. So that's it. Now, who do I think that they could trade him for? Well, it's going to be a star, and if not a true star, it would be somebody that can help them win a championship. So someone who's below a star, like a Malcolm Brogdon comes to mind, except Malcolm Brogdon's extension means that Malcolm Brogdon cannot be included in a Ben Simmons trade, right? So we have to look at some of these extensions that were just given out. And, you know, Brogdon is somebody who's not a star, but maybe could help them because they would need point guard. I like Tyrese Maxey, guys, but I just don't think Maxey's ready to, you know, be the starting point guard of a championship level team. So we just have to wait and see what's going to happen with Damian Lillard. Is there a CJ McCollum trade out there? We don't know. I think a lot of these teams are set, right? But a lot of these teams, like a Warrior, like a Wizards with Bradley Beal, like a Blazers with Dame or CJ, like they need to get into the season and see if things are working or not. So if the Blazers go into the season, they just tank, like maybe it's one of those guys who's going to become available. If the Wizards go into the season and they just tank and they're horrible, maybe it's Bradley Beal that might become available. So for me to tell you guys who do I think that they're going to trade Ben for, it doesn't matter. We have to wait for some of these teams to get into the season for them to kind of loosen up. Okay, yes, we are willing to trade our guy to the Sixers. But the teams that I'm keeping an eye out for are, I don't know, maybe a Raptors with a Fred VanVleet, maybe a Kings, because we've seen the Kings rumored out there. And, of course, the Kings have Tyrese Halliburton. They have De'Aaron Fox. They have Davion Mitchell, even though Davion's too young. I wish I could still say Pacers. I wish I could still say Pacers with Malcolm Brogdon. But as I said, his extension kind of takes him off the table. I would like to know if Shanghai awaits. I love it. I'm just looking at some of these comments so I can see if you guys are suggesting anyone for a trade. But yeah, I mean, John Wall, JSG Fly says John Wall. Oh man, if it's come to that, John's not a very good shooter, so I don't know if he would mix well with Joel Embiid. But John Wall's decent, I guess. Brooklyn Kyrie, someone says. Again, guys, like it would have to get really, really bad. Ben for D'Angelo Russell. Obviously, the Timberwolves have been big time in rumors, so we'll see. The teams that I'd be looking out for are the Kings or the Timberwolves. Perhaps the Rockets and the Nets are like down the list. Like if things get really bad, there's no market for Ben. Then I'd start looking at Kyrie and John Wall, but we'll see, guys. All right, so I just wanted to jump on and react because things are bad. All right, Joel Embiid's saying we're not here to babysit people. Like things are getting worse now that Ben is there. We were all wondering, like, what's it going to be like once Ben Simmons gets back to camp? The answer is it's getting worse, and this is worse for his trade value. So we'll see what happens, guys. Whenever there's more breaking news, I'll jump on. I will see you guys for today's video at 5 p.m. Later.